to the people.
Yeah.
And it wasn't alone.
It was impressive though.
I had a cockroach here.
Yeah.
A couple of them. Just chilling in just chilling in your seat.
Just hanging out.
Larry and his homies just rolling around in your seat while I was doing the podcast last week.
Yeah. For the listeners that are actually tuning in and are trying to appreciate the visuals that we've put for you on Spotify or on YouTube, let us know who wore it better.
Saied is it's coming to work dressed as your parent day. And,
oh, don't do that.
And Saied is wearing non-prescription Meta glasses that he's now recording with. Because you hate me.
They're so cool.
Okay.
I'm enjoying them so much.
You don't use social media.
I know. It's great. I use it for like personal stuff.
I'm so confused by that statement.
Instead of wearing like AirPods, I'll wear these. They work great.
Okay. Whatever.
They're amazing. Honestly, everybody needs a pair.
Do they alert you to text messages too or something?
Yes, and phone calls.
Oh, so you just intentionally ignore my text messages all weekend long?
I'm busy, man.
You're not that busy.
Bro, I'm only wearing the glasses right now to troll you.
Oh, so cool. But you have the Apple Watch on all the time.
Apple Watch is on all the time.
And yet you don't respond to emails and text messages?
You know what happened? Last week was a very hectic week, my man.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
But Saturday and Sunday weren't?
No, they were. It was the whole thing.
What was the whole thing?
I mean, there's family in town from New York, Virginia, Switzerland.
So your big family's my problem now?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
But I think we kick it off with a little intro, huh?
Would you like to grace us with your version of it?
I would love to. Thank you, my man.
Please, go ahead.
Welcome back to the #1 financial literacy podcast in the world. Sitting next to me on my left is my partner in crime,
and
Chris Nahibi.
I think I do better. But sitting next to me, my partner in time, the one and only Saied Omar.
Thank you, my man. And sitting behind the ones and twos, we got DJ Baboon, but with an H.
No, it's Haroon with a baboon.
Welcome back, man.
Thank you, man. Welcome back to you too.
Oh,
that was your first time missing an episode since Larry Wheels, huh?
My first episode. Yeah, exactly, since Larry Wheels. That you guys chose to do without me intentionally.
You know, if we say his name like 3 times, like Beetlejuice, he just shows up.
I hope so.
Larry Wheels, Larry Wheels, Larry Wheels.
Well, hopefully he shows up with Anatoly.
Oh, right.
Did you watch the second one?
Second what?
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I did.
Good, bad.
It was good. It wasn't a bad movie. It didn't capture the nostalgia like the first one did. The first one you could watch at any point in time. It's timeless. We watched it again, my wife and I, the week before, and we went and saw the movie theater. Look, Beetlejuice, great movie. Not bad at all. Not as good as the first, but a nice sequel.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the show. What do you say?
I didn't know we still did that.
I
thought I just talked to myself and the cockroaches for an hour every week.
Entertain the cockroaches. Yeah. Well, we got a really special episode for everybody today. Okay, we know, based on our analytics and the demographics of a lot of our listeners, that some of them are a bit younger, and hopefully they've taken our advice and have established a budget for themselves. Okay, but today what we want to get into is somewhat of a payday routine, very content creator-esque.
You know, I've done the exact same thing on Payday, which comes twice a month for me. I'm W-2. Mm-hmm. And for the money that comes in from businesses, I take the money in the same time I take my W-2 wages in. So it's like I address this twice a month. I do it the exact same way. And really, the way I've got this strategy down is there's only one time a month I really actually move money around.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. We're going to get right into that because we know, look, for a lot of listeners and people that are trying to get on the right path, the first thing that we always say is you got to establish a baseline, you got to establish a budget, right? Mm-hmm. There's various rules out there, rules of thumbs, right? One that I personally like to start off with that I think is somewhat reasonable, and hopefully you're in a position to do so, is a 60-30-10 split. We'll get into what that means. It's a nice starting point, and you can maybe adjust to your needs. But look, we know that mental accounting doesn't work, right? People tend to overspend, they compartmentalize what they spend, and they lack focus in certain financial sections of their financial health where they're not paying attention to. So it just requires a little bit of effort.
I wouldn't say it does not work. I would say that just like counting macros and understanding your diet, if you take the time to log and count how much protein, how much carbs, and how much fat you're taking on a daily basis, and you go through that exercise and you do it for a long enough time, it becomes a lot easier for you to guesstimate, if you will.
I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely. I should have backtracked a little bit, and you're right. If you take the time to figure out what is your baseline and what are your essentials, and you actually devote, let's say, several months to it, and you can stick to that plan, you'll start to pick up better habits.
100%. And you'll start to look at, so I do this something, and I know this is like one of those critical things that everybody talks about all the time. This is one example of many I'm sure we'll talk about. Every morning, I don't know why the hell this happened. I woke up one day and I'm that guy.
Yeah, and it just wasn't up. It was just down.
Yeah, that happened too, but that was more
I was talking about the stock market.
Shit. See, this is why I do shows without you more professionally.
Got it.
Okay, because you tap into my weaknesses subconsciously.
Yeah.
I've been getting a nitro cold brew every morning from Starbucks.
I've noticed that.
That is $6.45 every single morning.
But bro, you could be saving so much money if you just skip that coffee every morning.
I could, but I'm not going to.
Why? Why?
It brings me joy. And that $6 for that joy in the morning, that small pivot from the workday, and it's not even so much the drink as much as it is me knowing that I'm going to go and get something that I physiologically enjoy, and there's going to be this moment where I'm going someplace that's not work before I go to work. It makes me happy.
Dude, I can totally appreciate that. And some of that can carry over into other things like of your life too, right? Like I know for you also, going to the gym, as much as you do love spending time with your family and whatnot, you also know doing something for yourself, like going to the gym after work.
That is my psychological sanctuary.
Yeah, and this also could possibly play somewhat of a role, right? Like you do something for yourself first in the morning, then you go on and you tackle like the rest of your day. Right?
Yeah, I think for a lot of Americans, you're not going to get up and do fasted cardio. You're not going to get up and do a cold plunge. You're not going to get up and go for a walk in the morning or get sunlight or rub your Liver King trophies. You're not going to do any of that stuff, right? But if you do something small like that to start your day, I don't know if there's a psychological benefit here or what the explanation is, but there's just something that taps into your inner humanity where you're like, I can go to work now.
Right, exactly. So let's get into this first part, right? So step one is establishing your baseline. I know we got a lot of listeners that have crossed over from like the fitness industry thanks to Mind Pump.
My guys.
Right? So it's in that sense, it's no different than figuring out what your maintenance level calories are, right? Just figuring out where you're at, what does it take for you to just stay right where you are, weight-wise, right? And then adjusting from there. So like I said at the top of the show, a split that I like to start off with to, begin to plan out your budget is a 60-30-10 split. And that 60 represents 60% of your income should be going to essential living expenses. These are things like your mortgage or your rent, right? These are things like your groceries. These are things like dining out, insurance, minimum debt payments, right? Like things that your utility bills, insurance, transportation, all of these things, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully you're in a position to where you are making enough to where you can plan for this accordingly, right? And you're not behind the eight ball. But if so, this is a good starting point.
So there's a lot of people listening to the show who they're starting off with nothing, right? You're starting off at zero. And they get discouraged because like, oh my God, like I have all the aspirations of being hyper uber wealthy.
What do you mean like starting off with zero?
So I know whenever I was starting off, like I felt like I was behind the eight ball because I wasn't making millions yet.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of younger generations are seeing this wealth on social media, real or fake as it may be, and they aspire to it. They want that lifestyle. They want all the things that come with making money, right? They want the independence and freedom, and they have this manifestation of things in their head that they think it's going to be. To them, I would say, you're so much better off than you realize because there's an entire subset of people so much farther behind you that have racked up debt, sometimes to no fault of their own, just because life circumstances got in the way. So no judgment.
Yeah.
Sometimes because they're trying to keep up with that lifestyle. And sometimes because they just didn't do these simple steps along the way and got buried slowly, incrementally over time.
Yeah, it's no different than you seeing somebody that may be like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds overweight at a certain age at the gym. And yes, maybe, are you going to really pass judgment on them, or are you going to congratulate them and root them on for even being there, committing to something and starting to, go about it the right way?
But knowing your income and expense, like we talked about on previous shows, and establishing your baseline, your budget, whether that's a 60-30-10 split or it's hyper paying down debt, that has to be something that you know and appreciate. And yeah, you could look at something in your account and go, okay, am I waiting for my paycheck to come in to spend more money?
Right.
That's usually an indication you're doing something fundamentally wrong or you're not making enough money.
Right. And so to break that down a little bit further, part of this rule, and you can do this digging yourself too online, but if you're listening to the show, if you have a mortgage or your rent and you're trying to fit this into that 60%, ideally your mortgage or your rent should be taking up somewhere between 25 to 30% of that. Right?
I think that's outdated though.
It is a little bit, it is a lot outdated because especially where rents have gone, right, and where the mortgages are at now, and there's going to need to be a little bit more wiggle room. But that's why I said this is just a starting point that where you should be able to mold to fit exactly what you need, right? And 10% can go to your cell phone, your utilities, those things, and from there, I mean, hopefully you're, like I said, you're in position to where you can actually start to like mold these situations, right?
It still blows me away on cell phones. I mean, literally, like over a decade ago, I was in Europe, and they had like a $40 a month like flat fee, like that's what you paid.
Yeah,
and you can use your cell phone for data for every. They didn't have anything. I mean, it was just a flat fee.
bro. Our wifey was fed up the other day. We were ready to cancel Verizon.
Your mobile service?
Yeah,
Why?
they were down for 6 hours nationwide.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh man, I was out, and like we had recently, like several months ago, got rid of our landline at the house.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both kind of freaking out. Like, man, what if something were, like, luckily the kids are in school and they're safe and everything's fine. But I literally had no form of being able to contact anybody outside of FaceTime audio.
When was this?
This was Monday.
Huh. I mean, 6 hours of you not responding is very normal, so I wouldn't have noticed.
That's also why I wasn't responding to you.
Don't think that was.
It was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was not.
But yeah, man. So it's like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, man, 6 hours, that's a long time.
Was this just locally or nationwide?
No, nationwide.
That had to be like a hack or something, right?
And then I was reading, because the internet was still up, and I was reading like the live updates, and like they had been reporting only 100,000 people have reported like them being down. I'm like, bro, they can't report it. They don't have a phone to report that they're down. Like, what kind of stat is this?
Man, I've taken such beef with so many of the stats that have come out recently that, I mean, someone called me on social media. You saw it. They basically called me Peter Schiff. Broken clocks right twice a day, because we got
to address that at some point. Yeah.
I mean, he's been a loyal fan of the show. He still follows. I mean, he still listens to the show. So I'm not like upset about it per se, as much as I'm cognizant of the fact that we've talked a lot of negative things in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably should point out this week we're going to take a bit of a different stance. We're not going to use the R word as much. Recession.
Yeah.
Okay.
Recession.
So, recession. Well, we are going to talk a lot about the impacts of some of the things like this to improve your life. We're going to talk a little bit about the port strike coming up. I think I did a huge deep dive into
coming
it.
up, bro. It's already in play, full effect.
I don't think we're seeing the full manifestation of it yet.
Okay.
I think there's a lot more going on that's going to wind up making this a huge problem if it doesn't get resolved immediately. And frankly, it should, but there seems to be some interesting personalities at play.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's quickly get into step number 2 of your payday routine. It's, now it's getting into the 10% of that 60-30-10 rule, right? Where you're building up an emergency fund. Now, that could look different for a number of different people. We have a rule of thumb that we've routinely said on the show. Ideally, we would like, in a perfect world, for everybody to have 6 months of savings of your spending, right? But we understand that that's a huge undertaking, okay? So start off with miniature goals. Maybe start, aiming for like 1 month, and then 3 months. And then ultimately, this can happen over time. We understand, right? But eventually you should get to 6 months. And then ideally, that's also if you're employed. If you're self-employed, I think you need to account for maybe even a little bit more, right? Because you have your own business to fund.
You need to account for the business's monthly expenses in addition to yours too. So I mean, it can be, and look, every business goes through this narrow window of almost failing for the most part. I mean, there are exceptions, but most businesses go through this narrow window. Somebody once asked me, "Hey, Chris, I've got a home that I own,
okay,
and I've built some equity. Is it okay to have a home equity line of credit instead of an emergency fund?" And I guess if you really need to tap into it, yes. I've always said don't play Russian roulette with your home equity, right? Like it becomes a very easy drug to tap into. If you're running at a cash flow negative and you tap into it every single month and you don't have a relief valve for that, that can be very dangerous. Whereas if you had an emergency fund, once you run out of it, like you're out.
Right. That sense, because you have to also account, like, yeah, you could use it as an emergency fund, but now you got a debt payment you have to also account for.
Right.
every single month, right? So you have to also be able to, like, I would use that as like maybe an emergency to something that goes on like at the house, like, oh, I need a new roof, right? I don't want to take out 20 grand from my emergency fund to use to that. I'll use it and I'll slowly pay that off wherever I can.
Yeah, I tend to think of your emergency fund as if you lose your source of income or you're self-employed and you can't work or something happens and you need a rainy day fund, I think that's where you go. If it's something like you need to spend a great deal of money on your house and you need to amortize it, or you could, it's the expense that you're tapping into or the debt is placed, that's all good. Like, like you mentioned, like a roof, stuff like that. Worst case event scenario. But the idea is, in theory, that you have an emergency fund to cover 6 months of your personal expenses.
Yes. Right. And then, but keep in mind, this only, you only want to build that up first if you have not a lot of credit card debt that's you're carrying over month to month, right?
Yeah.
This is all under the assumption that you've paid down all your credit card debt, right? Because you want to get rid of those debt payments so that you can be, have a little bit more freedom and build that emergency fund up. Now, there's multiple methods. We actually get questions a lot from listeners on the show, like, can you help me out on a method or routine on how to take down this credit card debt? Because we understand it's a huge undertaking. There's 2 methods that are primarily used, right? There's one known as the snowball effect, right? Where you're paying off the smaller balances first so you can celebrate the little wins and you can slowly work your way up. Or
a little hit of dopamine from saying, I did it, I accomplished this, and then you get bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And there's no, you got to pick the path that you're going to stick to. If that's what you need, go for it. Now, if you want to save the most money, there's another method called the Avalanche method, right? Where you would also just look at the interest you're paying, right? And you want to attack the one that has the highest interest going up against you.
So this is actually probably a good point. I know a lot of people listen to the show and they say, okay, well, this is common logic, but why? Everything you'll find with making money in life comes down to one word, which is sensationalized on social media a tremendous amount: arbitrage.
Airbnb arbitrage, bro.
Arbitrage. They'll tack it on to something new. Airbnb arbitrage was the latest that I saw. Every couple of months or years to make something, as common as Airbnb sounds sexier, or I've got this brilliant idea. Arbitrage has been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
In one form or another. If you have your money in cash, right, and you don't have credit card debt, that money is hopefully making you interest. Let's just say you put it into a high yield savings account and you're making 4%, right? You're making 4% on your money, and you don't have any expense in keeping it there because it's just cash sitting in an interest-bearing account. If you're not using your money to pay down credit card debt, right, and you're putting it into just a savings account, you're making 4%, but you have credit card debt and you're paying 20%, you're negative arbitraging, right? That cash that could be used to pay that down is now costing you the difference between what you're earning, that 4%, versus what you're paying, the 20%. It's a 16% negative to you. So the arbitrage concept is as simple as it might sound. You're like, oh, duh, that sounds pretty simple. Chris, why are you explaining to me like I'm an idiot? You'd be surprised how many people don't actually go to this mental exercise.
Right.
So if you need to look at where your money is and how much it's costing you or how much it's making you. Just knowing where your money is and where your debt is in and of itself is not enough. You would be stunned at how many people I talk to that do not know their credit card interest rates.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it does float a little bit, right?
Yeah, but you should approximately know how much you're paying.
Exactly, right? And we're going to get in, and also like an example that I had ready for the show is like the average credit card debt that's being carried month over month for, people out there, people with credit cards, is somewhere between $6,000 to $8,000, okay? I mean, that's a lot.
So everybody but Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, because he doesn't need credit, bro. Why do you need credit?
Cash rules everything around me.
Cream.
Dollar bills, y'all.
We're so good at this.
I think we've done a podcast before.
Off the dome. So like, keep this in mind. If you're just paying the minimum payments and then also still using your credit cards to, live the lifestyle that you've now, accumulated and like created for yourself, right? And you have $8,000 balance, and let's just say you pay the minimum payment or a little bit more, but then you're racking up a little bit more. Then at the end of the first year, you didn't take down anything from that $8,000. Let's just say there's 20% interest, which is actually it's I think on average the interest rate is slightly higher than 20%.
Oh, yeah.
It's like 21, 22%, maybe even. Some definitely even higher than that. But let's say 20% higher. You're not going into year 2. You're now at $9,600.
Yeah.
Right. And then going into year 3, I think what do I have here? You're at $11,500. So like you have to make this a priority and pay it down.
So I don't like thinking about this stuff on a monthly basis. I just don't want to obsessively, compulsively worry about it. So I have found ways to simplify this entire process.
Love it.
And it goes into our next steps, 3 and 4, as we'll talk about eventually. But basically, I don't want to think about my baseline. So I've gotten really good at understanding how much money I'm putting out and where I'm putting it out at a minimum every single month. I know how many mortgages I have.
Mm-hmm.
I know how much I have all my investment properties coming out of one property management account. I know how much money needs to be in that account every single month in order to pay the mortgages that are coming out of it.
Okay.
Right? I know for my personal residence how much I'm paying every single month. I know what car payments we had when we had them.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually do have a Rivian payment right now, which is weird because I haven't had a car payment in a long time. So I know the monthly outflow of these things. I know how much I make. I know how much free cash flow is there. Everything else I'm charging onto one credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And I watch that balance. I get alerts from that credit card every time it's used. My wife uses it when I use it. And we get to know this way. People are like, oh my God, you and your wife are stalking each other. No, we're ensuring that it's not fraud.
Right.
And it's a great way to encourage conversations. If I see her spending on something weird, or she says to me spending on something weird,
yeah.
Hey, what'd you buy?
Yeah.
That if you ask your partner, what did you buy? And there's hesitation or like there's pause in telling you, I understand gifts. I understand surprises. But generally speaking, if somebody's like awkward in telling you, that's usually an indication of there's an uncomfortable, unspoken problem with financial spending.
Right. And I mean, just to take this a step further, like I remember when, I'm not saying my wife and I have like the perfect relationship, but
you typically do.
No, I really don't. But you say that I do, but I don't. But for us, like from the very beginning, open lines of communication, that was the number one thing that we worked so hard on the beginning because we knew the foundation was so important, right? And even on this topic, because for a lot of people out there, this is a very uncomfortable conversation to have with your partner.
Okay, let's test this. Haroon?
Are we taking off the glasses now?
Yeah.
Let's do this.
We're going to be serious face.
This was very difficult for me.
Is it? Good. Okay, Haroon, I want you to be honest with me about something.
Okay.
If you're going to the bathroom in your house.
Oh, okay. No, not during this segment, bro. We'll save it for after.
No, we're testing truth and transparency here.
Truth and transparency?
Yeah, we're testing boundaries. We're testing limits.
All right.
Do you go to the bathroom with the door open or do you close it?
Close it.
Close it.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone number 2 in front of your wife?
No.
But what? Yeah, but this is so like off the line.
It's
like,
not.
But no,
bear with me,
bro. You've been taught as a young kid that if you go to the bathroom, you close the door behind you. Like you don't. I mean,
so I know that you're unopen to other cultures because both of you are ethnocentric assholes.
Open to other cultures.
I know that you guys have. You got Afghan wives.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You kept it in the culture.
Kept it
right?
in the culture, baby.
There's a lot of cultural similarities there. I had a bit of a culture shock when my wife is very different when it comes to these things.
Okay.
When I was growing up, a buddy of mine, we used to joke that you never wanted to go to the bathroom in earshot of somebody hearing it, right?
I'm very much like that now. Like, very much. Like, if I'm going to the restroom, even number one, I feel very uncomfortable if I know people are, like, close by. I'll turn the sink on. Like, I'm not.
The same.
I'm not letting you hear this.
I used to do the same. And I don't know if this is a Filipino thing, but certainly it's my wife thing. My wife, and she's a nurse too, so maybe that's part of it. I don't know. She would walk in, like when I'm going number 2, and like
you've told me this,
and like my anus wasn't ready to go. It's got stage fright.
Yeah.
Right, and then over time, like it becomes not a thing.
Well, look, I'm not saying that like that's for me, but it's cool to hear that you guys' comfort level is that you're that comfortable with each other.
Again, hear me out, okay? All I'm saying is if something like that can be overcome and the awkwardness can go away, everybody should be able to talk about their finances with their partner.
I saw how you put a little bow on it. I like that. Good for you.
And now you guys know something personal about me. Unlike Saied, who doesn't share anything personal with anybody in the show.
I share everything with. What do you mean?
Haroon?
Come on, man.
Let's see.
Come on, man. Me or him?
You, man.
Oh, okay. All right. Step number 3 of your payday routine is you need to make sure you are matching your company's 401k.
Don't leave money on the table.
I mean, that's free money.
Don't do it.
That could be compounding interest. And if you don't know what that is, you should go to Chris's TikTok page and look at the #1 video, and it'll teach you all about compound interest.
The #1 video has Saeed's face on, for those of you who are unfamiliar.
I mean,
Saeed
that's a good way for you to find it.
1.7 million views.
We're up.
My most viral video with my face on, I got about 50,000. So clearly you have a much more appealing face.
I feel like you owe me a lot.
I like to think that you look more homely.
I'm a man of the people. You're not a man of the people. I'm the man of the people.
Yeah, I know what people you're a man of. So that being said, one of the constant themes that I see on social media, and it just bothers me, it burns me to my core. And Haroon, you've probably seen this because you scroll on TikTok a lot at night when you're not supposed to be on TikTok.
You still got TikTok, bro?
For sure he does. Haroon?
I do.
Yeah.
You do too?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, you have to.
How do you think you go viral? I put you on my TikTok.
Never had a TikTok. True story.
Yeah, well, you do now.
What do you mean?
More people have seen your face on TikTok than mine. So one of the things I see constantly is people will bash a 401k saying, why would you invest your money today? And the argument, it makes sense at first. They're saying, okay, let's say you invest 5% of your money into this, right? You're taking 5% of your free cash flow and you're cutting it off and saying, I'm not touching this. So now you're bringing in less money today that you could invest in other places or enrich the quality of your life. And there's so many people who are like, look, I'm never going to be able to afford a home. They have this defeatist attitude. And I get it. We have world-class problems with affordability. So I get the criticism. And then there's another subset of people who are like, okay, well, with inflation being what it is today, I'm never going to make enough in these traditional 401k fund-like investments to justify me taking 5% off the table every single paycheck to get the employer match. So why would I care about my employer match? And oh, by the way, I don't want to wait until I'm 65.
That's also being very short-sighted, right? You're only thinking about those individuals, right? The latter.
But that's most Americans.
I know. They don't want to wait for the long run. And they look, if you wanted to invest, hopefully you are doing some investing then, right? But look, we're not saying, and we've never said on the show, that that's the only form of investing that you do.
And let me be clear.
It's just take advantage of the free money that's on the table.
Haroon, how many times have you heard this? You know what? If I had to do it all over again,
okay,
you know what I would do?
What would you do, Chris?
I wouldn't invest in a 401k.
What?
No. I wouldn't just go buy a piece of real estate. I mean, I'm not experienced. What would I do that for?
Okay.
You know, I'm not going to go buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. God, there's so many scams. I would invest in myself.
Oh, like what?
So what I would do is I would buy a course like the one that I'm selling. Normally it sells for $700, but today I'm selling it for $97 to you. And you can enrich invest in you by buying this course from me for you.
Bro, I heard that your boy DJ, okay? DJT, okay? He used to do these seminars where you come down and get a real estate seminar from me and you'll get to meet me, and they'd promote it, and then he would never be there, just be a cardboard cutout of him. He used to pimp out these seminars back in the day. Like, he was the OG seminar seller. But he wasn't the one teaching. They were just using his likeness.
So, you ever see that movie Pain and Gain?
Of course, yeah.
With Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and
when he was at his biggest,
and Mark Wahlberg, yeah. So the Asian guy from The Hangover, Ken Jeong,
yeah,
the doctor, he plays like this 1980s sales guru who does seminars.
Oh, okay, yeah,
and people came to it. My dad, when I was younger, before he found like his passion in real estate, would drag me to those.
Okay.
And I vividly remember walking into seminars like that, and when they got big enough, the light bulb moment went on for these seminar gurus. They were like, okay, wait a minute. If I do a seminar in one city on one weekend, I'm limited to where I can be. But if I do multiple seminars over multiple weekends and I have people on my team that can double down on the narrative using my name, my likeness as their brand, we can make double or triple the money.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And people got there, and they always got upsold. And then the light bulb went on in the guru mindset. They're like, okay, wait. You want to meet, this guy.
Right.
You want to meet him. So how do you meet him? You got to pay to go to the retreat. But don't worry, the retreat's discounted. You get a little vacation in. You got to sit through a couple hours of our stuff. but it's going to be so enriching for you. And what did you do? You went to these retreats. You got there. It was pressure sales tactics. They often had people who would literally walk you through the how to talk to your credit card company to get extensions of credit to get more money to buy their multiple $1,000 course. And the way they hooked you back then, and they still use this on social media today, they just do it a little differently, was they started you off with the offer of a free gift in return, right? That's how timeshares work, for example. Right? It's usually a small token, like a tchotchke of some type, if you go. They get you hyped up, all the good vibes. You walk away feeling really good about yourself. And then it goes into like this, hey, if you commit to going to this thing, you're going to go here. There's someplace else that's not so close to you, proximate, like a local hotel. They know, okay, this person's committed. They're emotionally engaged. Now I'm going to try to get more money from them. They sell you on a package.
Right.
But the package is always like, oh, there's several levels to the package. You want the VIP package. That's going to be the biggest bang for your buck. So they tell you, hey, you can buy this one for $5,000, but if you really want to be successful, you really got to buy this one for $10,000.
Right.
And all those guys do that right now. It starts off with, hey, Saied, I'm going to coach you.
How many of these guys are going just for potential networking? Problem is they're thinking about the networking, but everyone there's trying to do the same thing that they're doing. So what are you really?
Yeah, and that's the pitch I've never understood. Like all these gurus will be like, look, I have a mastermind. You can pay to come to this mastermind. We're gonna get together and we're gonna do master minding stuff, right? And like I've never understood the
synergies.
Like, you're gonna meet so many people. You're gonna connect to people, and it's like, what successful people do you know that are saying, you know what, I am successful. I got a business, I got a family, I got all these things to do, but I could kick it up a notch.
Right.
If I went to a mastermind.
Yeah. And get masterminded.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. So hopefully, back to this, so hopefully you're taking advantage of the 401k that your company's offering. And let's say your company's not offering a 401k. There are other, investment retirement accounts that you can apply for. There's the big hot trendy one now is Roth IRAs, right?
It's been trendy for a while, but
tax-free growth, right? You can withdraw your contributions, not your earnings, at no penalty, right?
I'm still a sucker for a 401k.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully your company offers a 401k though, right?
And if not, save your money, invest in real estate. Let that be your 401k. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, no, I mean that also can pay you, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully that. And then step number 4 to our Payday routine is invest your money. If there's any money left over on top of all that, hopefully you can create a brokerage account. We've talked about it on the show a lot. We love long-term index funds, dollar cost averaging, right? And you can start off with there's definitely a lot of them out there that have no baseline limits where you can come in by fractions and you can grow it, and on average that returns you 10 to 12%.
So let me just tell you how I put this on autopilot, okay? Just to be clear, there are some things that I do because I don't want to spend time thinking about this. Number one, I know how much I spend every single month. I've done the counting of my macros financially. I understand what my inflow outflow is, so I can skip step 1 at this juncture in my 40s, okay?
We call it financial macros on the show.
Financial macros.
That's our thing, bro.
That might be a good T-shirt.
I like that.
Yeah. Write that down. Okay. Haroon?
Write it, please.
On it.
You don't track your macros or your financial macros, do you?
Ha ha ha.
So I do put everything on my credit card, right? I have an emergency fund, so all that's done, so I don't have to think about that anymore. The credit card spending is always on one card. It's on my American Express. That's it. That's just my methodology. It's a charge card, not a,
Meaning you have to pay it in full every month?
Every single month, and that's exactly what I do. So that's why I'm thinking about, how much money I'm coming in and coming out, right? For the investing in the 401k, I absolutely match up to my employer match, not a penny more.
Yeah, me too.
And then you shouldn't invest more, frankly, unless you're trying to accelerate towards retirement. So if you're older and you're trying to get there faster or something like that, fine.
Well, some people want to hit the max, right? What's the max? Like 20-some thousand now?
Oh, per year? Yeah. If you're not doing that with your employer contribution, that might be something to think about. That might be worthwhile.
Yeah.
I generally have not because I hit that anyway.
Yeah.
That being said, I also contribute $1,000 a month into 2 different investment accounts, right? Those are just automatic withdrawals. Those come out one time a month on its own. I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
Right? All my bills are on auto pay.
We do that for our kids' accounts too, savings accounts.
They're basically one's for my son and one's for like my general investing account. And then I have an Acorns account set up to all of my accounts, which
I remember when you created that.
Yeah.
I remember we were walking one day and like it had just recently come out or something.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, I'm gonna do this now. Watch. And I was like, really? You're gonna really? And I was kind of making fun of the concept. And then I remember month after month after month, and you were kind of showing me the it was nominal growth, but it was still growth.
Yeah, $45,000 in that thing right now.
I remember when we started that thing.
Yeah, 45,000. Yeah. Incremental roundups from spending. You spend $1.45, you get 55 cents rounded up and dropped in that. $45,000 now.
Incredible.
That's incredible. And I've literally done nothing to think about it.
It just does. You just have to pick the fund that it goes into, right?
No, you just pick whether you want it, aggressive or, you pick your level of risk that you're
aggressive, moderate, or low. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Or light.
Yeah.
And then as far as investing my money goes, I am always thinking about investing. There are a lot of people who go every single day to work. They think about their job. They think about their family. All good. Those are priorities. You should. But I spend a great deal of time every single day thinking about investing. And I found that people who have that mindset will look a lot more at bad news as opportunities.
Interesting.
So we had a lot of news, and we're not going to talk a whole lot about it on the show. We had a lot of news recently about some potential geopolitical conflict, which may or may not affect the oil supply. So I know a lot of people, as soon as that news came out, they started buying oil, right? They started buying into all the oil-based and impacted oil shares. Oil spiked that day, and they sold out.
Yeah.
They sold out, they made their money, and they dropped out. And they
understanding how these things get impacted and get affected, right?
Everything was an investment opportunity. It wasn't sensationalized news anymore. It was, how is this news going to affect the consumer? Because I'm going to buy the play.
Yeah, exactly.
And the classic story I always tell people when it comes to stuff like this, and it's just a mindset shift, and it doesn't come from a mastermind, sorry to say that, is when the CEO of Lululemon came out before he was terminated and said that he didn't make clothes for fat people. Stock took a huge dive. The quality of the product didn't drop off. Right. There wasn't an issue with the buyers.
And people didn't like the brand because of the CEO.
Yeah.
Right. Like something like Tesla. Right. Like a lot of people like it because of Elon. There's a lot of Elon fanboys, bro.
Yeah, which is fine. And that's more modern day. But back then that wasn't the case as much. But nobody knew the CEO.
Yeah. Nobody.
He was irrelevant.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to get fired. So you buy the dip of the stock and you sell when it goes back up. And that's exactly what I did. And it made a great deal of money.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
everything around you is an investment opportunity if you choose to see it that way.
I love it. Yeah.
Do you love it?
I do love it. So hopefully, by the way, when I was planning this for the intro for the show, I thought about Jackie. So shout out to Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My girl.
Yeah.
You know that higher standard champion
That was my favorite
pullover one that you have?
Yeah.
She has the same one now.
Yeah, bro, I know. I told you to get it for her.
I know, but I like to think
that was me.
I contributed in some way, shape, or form.
You did.
Yeah. All right. So if you've been watching the news or, you've been just kind of going, hey, what's going on in the economy? And you went over to a website or Apple News, you probably have heard about a little problem at the ports. Little port problem, if you will.
Yep. Some of the dockers.
And Haroon, as a portly man, have you heard about this?
I have not.
Really?
Wow, really? This is everywhere right now.
In his defense, as much as it is everywhere right now, I found that a lot of people, for some reason, have kind of passed this over.
Because so I think a lot of people are like, they hear about strikes and like, oh man, another union is forming a strike. But given where we are at and where we've come from with inflation, this is major news and could be major news, right?
Oh, I think it's going to be a big problem.
I got data here too, but I'll let you.
I got
introduce it.
Pages of data. Haroon, you want to make sure to hit the audio button in the bottom right there of that little box before you push play. So what Haroon's gonna play is Harold Daggett, right? He's president of the International Longshoremen's Association, also known as the ILA.
Yep, and they're supporting the dockers, union workers, right?
They're the union. They support the union workers. He's discussing the strike port which started the port strike. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm doing that a lot lately. I'm going backwards.
You want the port wine? That's what you want.
Dyslexic, is that what that is? Yeah. Anyway, so it started on 10/1, and I'd seen the headlines. I had no interest in reading into it until I heard Harold.
Harold, for reference point, the reason why it started on 10/1, they had a contract that was 6 years long that expired at the end of September. So it was time for them to have a new contract that they hadn't negotiated.
But they knew they weren't going to be able to come to terms on this contract in June.
Yeah, they had been actively negotiating since June.
And then they were actually negotiating up to June, and then basically the other side walked away.
The side that supports the freight, the ship.
They walked away, and they were basically like, "Meh, we'll see what you do."
Okay.
And well, I heard Harold say this, Haroon, if you want to go ahead and
you want to. He's a character. Let's just say that.
Yeah, he's got some mobbish feel to him.
He's got a little bit. He's got a little bit of sass,
little sassy, little I might kill you vibes. Haroon, please
explain something to you. These people today don't know what a strike is.
Right.
When my men hit the streets from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down. You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you. First week, be all over the news every night, boom, boom. Second week, guys who sell cars can't sell cars because the cars ain't coming in off the ships. They get laid off. Third week, malls start closing down. They can't get the goods from China. They can't sell clothes. They can't do this. Everything in the United States comes on a ship. They go out of business. Construction workers get laid off because the materials aren't coming in. The steel's not coming in. The lumber's not coming in. They lose their job. Everybody's hating the longshoremen now because now they realize how important our jobs are. Now I have the president screaming at me, "I'm putting a Taft-Hartley on you." Go ahead. Taft-Hartley means I have to go back to work for 90 days. That's a cooling off period. Do you think when I go back for 90 days, those men are going to go to work on that pier? It's going to cost the companies money to pay their salaries. Well, they went from 30 moves an hour maybe to 8. They're going to be like this. Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and let's get a contract and let's move on with this world. And in today's world, I'll cripple you. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means. No.
I'm going to take out both his knees.
I will cripple you.
That's scary, bro. Yeah. So,
I mean, that's basically Robert De Niro in every movie he's ever played.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's a problem.
So what's it called? I did some digging, and the what are they seeking, right? They're seeking pay raises. Okay.
We covered all this in the notes, brother.
Huh? Okay. You're covering this. Okay. I'll let you get through it. Sorry.
We really got to get your phone back up to the group messages. I would text you, but you don't read back text messages.
Go for it.
Haroon, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Reading text messages.
The sad part is I know you guys read each other's messages. That's
Yeah.
hurtful. Over 50,000 port workers across the United States are now on strike for the first time since 1977. These ports handle nearly 40% of all U.S. imports, and it could cost the U.S. up to $5 billion per day.
I mean, that's an estimation. That's definitely on the high end, right? But it could be.
Even if it was $1 billion per day, that, even at $1 billion, would incrementally affect GDP every single day.
Right, exactly.
Now, to frame this is inflationary. This will cause prices of the impacted supply of products to come in to go up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of perishable items here, too. Stuff that if you sit out there and you don't get onto shore, it just goes bad.
It's not just that, man. We're talking about medicine.
Yeah.
Right?
Cars.
I got here 48% of active pharmaceutical ingredients come from India.
That's racist.
Well, what's racist? What? Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. I didn't say anything. I didn't say. I just gave a fact.
You had to go right to India?
It's a fact, bro.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
That's start with China?
That's where it comes from, right? I also got here the top 3 companies with the biggest exposure, bro. Care to take a guess?
Top 3 companies, biggest exposure. Food company, number 1.
They sell food. Walmart,
yeah.
Walmart's in there.
Yeah.
IKEA, number 2.
Really, the Swedes?
That's the Swedes.
Just you taking shots at everybody, huh?
I mean, wide range here, bro.
Yeah.
Right. And number 3, Samsung.
Wow, the Koreans now?
Dang.
You're just going out to everybody.
I'm diverse with this.
Apple's totally fine, though.
They're good. They're Gucci.
Yeah.
Cupertino.
For some background, port workers are on strike because of failed contract negotiations, as Saied referenced. In June, the ILA, a union that represents port workers, suspended talks with the United States Maritime Alliance. Yeah. So they've done nothing, literally, at a standstill since then.
Mm-hmm.
On September 30th, the contract officially expired, as Saied noted and Haroon laughed at. The current ILA contract has union members making between $20 to $37 an hour, a pretty fair wage. 20, though, I will point out, is what you can get at some fast food places in California. I know that other states have a little bit lower minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how to think about that. I don't really know the risk profile. To me, if you're a longshoreman, you're probably doing some risky work.
Some risky work and definitely some intensive labor for sure.
Yeah, so between $20 to $37 an hour, depending on seniority, a longshoreman can make between $150,000 a year to $250,000 a year. Not a bad annual salary.
It's kind of crazy. I mean, because $20 to $37 an hour, that equates to somewhere between $40,000 a year to just shy of like $70,000 a year, right? So you're like, how'd y'all get up to $150,000?
The numbers are a little weird. So Port Insider said that the ILA is targeting an increase larger than 32% over 6 years.
So basically what they wanted, from my understanding, was a pay increase of $5 an hour every year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what will take them up.
So I got mixed emotions about this. On one hand, that sounds like a lot because you're really talking about 25% of that base salary every single year increase.
Uh-huh.
That's a lot for a company to absorb.
It's a lot for a company to absorb, but I think the real play here is they want some form of certainty because they know automation is around the corner.
That's 100% accurate. And if you've been on social media at all and you've seen this at all, one of the things that was highlighted was the port in Guangzhou, China.
Okay.
The port in Guangzhou, China doesn't have a massive team of longshoremen.
Mm-hmm.
They have these 4-panel screens, right? 4 screens in front of like a computer setup, 2 joysticks, and a team of people sitting in front of this setup, operating these remote trucks, right? Taking these shipment cart containers, dropping them on these remote trucks, and these remote trucks are then AI operated to go where they need to go inside the facility.
If you've never seen one of these things, do yourself a favor, look it up. It's pretty freaking cool. Because these are large shipping containers that are just being moved around like Legos.
And all the guys are doing is really moving the shipping containers onto these AI vehicles, and the AI vehicles take the rest. So you need way less humans to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in Guangzhou now. Fully active, fully operational, been operational.
I mean, yeah, and that's the extreme version. I mean, Los Angeles port already, Long Beach have already gone through automation, right? So way more efficient. Definitely did unfortunately take away some jobs from some people.
Yeah.
Right. But it is more efficient, and they're able to take in more shipments. Right. So as a whole, for the economy, it does better for the economy as a whole. It does impact these shoremen, absolutely. But now we got this supply chain disruption again. Okay, where we're all very familiar with what happened last time. Okay. And hopefully, I mean, these negotiations have been going on for a long time, okay? And you would hope that some of these big retailers like Walmart, right, they're hip to it. They understand that this could possibly happen. Hopefully, they've, placed enough of a back order to where they aren't in such a tight squeeze over the next, like this guy said, in 3 weeks. Bro, the mall's closing down in 3 weeks.
So, yeah, that's a bit of an extreme stance. Now, I will say there were pictures of people, like, mobbing Costco, trying to get stocked up on the toilet paper again.
You think there's a lot of panic buying again?
There was. There was literally, that made the headlines more than this made the headlines.
Why the toilet paper, man? Like, God.
Everybody got to wipe their ass, bro, and nobody wants to do it with their hand like the Middle Easterns do. The first time I was a kid, I walked into a Middle Eastern household where they had, like, the little faucet thing.
Yeah.
And, like, you just sat there and you look at it and you go, how do I use that with toilet paper? And someone goes, you don't, and you go,
a bidet?
A bidet? Yeah.
No, not a bidet. Like, they talk about the little cable, like, hose thing.
They still label it a bidet, even though it's not a true bidet, but yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. We got one at the house.
Do you really?
Yeah.
No, like a traditional bidet or like the little hose thing?
The hose thing, and the kids use it. They know how to use it.
Really?
Yeah. I told them, like, come on, man, we got to get done with this. You guys got to learn how to do this. Because they feel dirty after. We've always, like, cleaned them ever since they were babies, and they feel dirty if they don't wash themselves now.
Is it weird that's the most personal thing you ever shared on the show?
What?
That?
That's not the most personal thing.
That's for sure. Haroon?
I think so.
Yeah.
Why do you just blindly agree with him? You know what he
No,
does? He
I
blindly
think
agrees just to move the show along.
Okay, no, hold on. Okay, you've shared about your wife getting into an accident. You've shared
That was
about
near-death experience,
your
bro.
kids' successes in their sports or their losses. Some awards they've won.
Everything that
How
furthers
great
the
of a
wonderful
dad
dad.
you are.
Yeah, the great dad's narrative.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful dad.
You're wonderful.
Share the drama.
Yeah.
No, I've
Give
shared
me a little
I've shared-
poop in my life.
No,
you know
no,
what I mean?
I've also shared other things on the show. We won't get into it now. I don't want a reminder, but anyways,
You want to remind her?
a reminder.
Oh, that's not what I heard.
Of course you did it. Of course you did it. Chris
seems
always
different.
looking for the drama. But yeah, so what were we saying? I think there's definitely some panic buying.
All right, so roughly 38% of U.S. imports are currently processed through the East and Gulf Coast ports, which are impacted by this. Now, this does impact both imports and exports. You can't get it in or out of the ports. J.P. Morgan has estimated the strike will cost the economy $3.8 billion to $4.5 billion per day. To Saeed's point, you can see the wide disparity in estimates, but clearly this is going to be expensive. Clearly this is going to affect GDP. And this is a financial literacy podcast. This is going to affect you.
This is going to affect everybody. And those shipments, those containers, like they're just going to be sitting out. Have you ever seen them? They're just sitting out at sea, waiting to be brought in.
Playing backgammon out there, just chilling.
Pirates out there looking around like, which one should we take?
Yeah, all the Haitian pirates rolling around going, take that one.
Yeah, that's the good one.
This means a week-long strike could cost over $20 billion.
That's just 1 week.
1 week. 60, and Haroon pulled up a great chart here. U.S. imports processed by the East and Gulf Coast ports, share of total share. So 62% to the West Coast port, 38% to the East Coast port, 5% textiles, 5% precious gems and metals, base metals, minerals, 8%, transportation, 12% for transportation equipment. To Saeed's point, chemicals, 13%, machinery and equipment, 24%. So a lot of stuff here, and obviously, as I made reference, bananas, fruits, melons. There's a ton of perishable stuff, soybeans out there. So, and that's the kind of stuff that goes bad. You can't just leave it out there. It's going to have a problem. So, moving on, agriculture is an industry that is heavily reliant on the East Coast ports. Okay, 2.67 million metric tons of soybeans were imported through these ports in 2023 alone. Haroon, if you could scroll up for me, please.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So that's a lot of soybeans, right?
A lot of soybeans, yeah.
Also, 1.95 million metric tons of poultry were imported here. Can't leave that out there for that long.
You can't.
Right? Food inflation could rebound again if this strike lasts. He pulled up another chart, which I thought was really interesting. U.S. AG exports relying on top East Coast ports. Soybeans, number 1. Animal feed, number 2. Poultry, number 3. Raw cotton, number 4. Meat, grocery items, bulbs and seeds, random. Vegetables, dairy product, hides and skins. Didn't even know we still did that.
Yeah.
Edible nuts makes the list.
I'll take it.
Are non-edible nuts there? No. The
No.
next one down is cheese.
Jeez.
Such a random ass list, right?
Yeah.
But that's what came in. That's the top list of what came in the ports. So it's not going to affect everything, but from an agricultural perspective, it's gonna affect those items most notably.
No, from agriculture for sure, electronics for sure. The guy said himself, cars absolutely, right?
Yep.
And you got to think. I already mentioned what's coming from India. You got the pharmaceutical ingredients, right, that are actively used. So look, and if the cost of freight shipping becomes more expensive, ask yourself the question: who's going to eat that cost? What does that cost? Who does that cost get passed down to?
Well, if you're a company, you raise your prices and you say, Saied, your chicken just went up.
And what is that? That's inflation all over again. So JP's been on the phone like, you motherfuckers. Don't you dare.
Wow, the MF bomb.
Bro, we're 54 minutes in.
Yeah, the algorithm checks all minutes. Just restricted the advertising.
Like, you guys, seriously, what have I done? What have I done to hurt your feelings? Why don't you like me? Why are you guys raising the prices on everything for me? I've worked so hard to bring inflation down. Now what's going to happen is it's going to increase again.
And JP's like, I get more press time, though, so win-win?
Yeah.
I'm still the man of the hour. So here are some of the top U.S. importing companies through the East and Gulf Coast ports. Spoiler alert, Saied was right. Walmart leads the way, along with other large retailers like IKEA, Home Depot, Dollar General, and Amazon.
Dollar General's still a thing, huh?
Yeah, and how does that get mentioned between Home Depot and Amazon?
I swear.
I feel like you might want to leave Dollar General off and throw in something else, but the list gets kind of quirky after Samsung. It goes Walmart number 1, IKEA number 2, Samsung number 3, number 4, Bob's Discount Furniture. Really?
Damn, Bob.
Is Bob's real name like Chinese or something? Is he importing everything
Come
from China?
on,
Like,
bro.
what's going on?
Yeah, Bob built it in the U.S.
Yeah, below Bob's is LG, Home Depot, Continental Tire, okay, Hyundai, Dollar General, General Motors, and Amazon. Why you would pick Dollar General over LG?
Yeah, or Samsung, bro.
Continental Tires, Hyundai?
But like Samsung's triple the amount. Like, why'd you leave Samsung off?
Just seems weird, right?
Yeah, what you got against Samsung?
I don't know. Apparently something. Well, what are we looking at? Oh, Bob's. Yeah, Bob's. Look, Bob's Furniture is a big ass chain. When I was in Oklahoma, I saw their this massive like warehouse store of theirs. I think it was. They've got huge outlets. California. Look at that. Look at all those cities: Connecticut, New Jersey, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa. It's a big deal. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew how big it was.
Oh, it's big.
Yeah.
It's real big. You ever been inside?
Nope.
You should go inside.
Should go inside sometime.
You love Bob's.
I bet I would.
By the way, that's foreshadowing in the business to the conversation we have to have about Sam Bankman-Fried and P. Diddy being sellies.
I mean,
We got to have that conversation.
Not just sellies, right?
They're
Like,
bunkies, bro.
represented by the same
Do you think they watch all those TikTok videos about how to make prison food? Because I watch.
or prison workouts.
I watch those, yeah. You think they're doing prison workouts?
They
the
together have
burpees,
to.
right?
Have
Where they
to.
do that weird like hip thrust burpee thing.
and they got to hit the abs.
Yeah.
Right?
The sideways hip. Why
they do
that
the
way?
push up and then they raise the knee to the chest, other knee to the chest.
But it's very flowy, and they do the side hip thrust thing.
and then
yeah.
they go back down.
Is that like gang signs or something?
I don't know. It just
Does it mean something?
it feels like it's Degeneration X. Like bang.
Yeah, and then like if you're Sam Bankman-Fried, do you get a kickback for having him use your attorney?
Yeah, honestly, like
is there
hey,
like
a referral fee?
like a discount? Like we can both get visits under the same cost?
Bro, I was so this
It's very confusing.
so apparently one of the law firms that is handling the sexual assault cases against your boy Diddy.
Not my boy.
Not boy.
Not
Yeah,
my
let me
boy.
get that on record. Not
Yeah.
my boy. Apparently they were fielding like assault cases against him. Bro, they got over 2,300 people calling in with stories.
There's 120 new cases against him.
So they out of the 2,300, they picked 120 that they felt that they did enough due diligence on. They were like, "Yep, that meets everything we need. Sign on up." Bro, this guy is like Dunzo.
Bro, and the worst part about it is they're tapping his own cameras for the evidence.
It's like we already got it, bro. Thank you.
I bet you this is how it went. We have him. We have him on video. He called, right? Okay, that's number one. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that checks out.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's. Are you 6'5", 200 pounds? Yep, we got you. I mean, anyway, let's finish up the market: exporting, importing. Export markets are also heavily reliant on these ports. As I referenced earlier, China receives 1.91 million metric tons of exports from these ports, and Indonesia receives 1.3 million metric tons. That was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't realize Indonesia was such a port-heavy export. Various countries around the globe are going to feel the impact of this strike. China, number 1. Indonesia, number 2. Vietnam, number 3. Puerto Rico, number 4. Taiwan, number 5. Turkey, Dominican Republic, Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, and Pakistan.
It's Pakistan.
I try to not Pak.
No, you said Pakistan. It's Pakistan.
I didn't say Pak. I said Pak.
It's Pakistan.
Pak.
Yeah. Where's your culture, bro? Put some respect on it.
I just feel like there should be like a little tilde over the A or something.
No, why?
Just for a reminder visually.
Why?
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Pakistan. Anyway, each year, more than 3.8 million metric tons of bananas arrive at the ILA-handled ports, or 75% of the nation's bananas, which is why I referenced bananas earlier. The odds are, if you're going at one of those boats, it's going to have bananas on it. 75% of
Damn, we
of the
can't grow any
nation's
bananas out here? Like, what's going on?
You know, we have that avocado shortage and people went nuts. Can you imagine what they're going to do when they don't have their bananas?
Bro, people want that avocado toast.
I love bananas. The best.
Yeah, you have bananas regularly?
If you don't have a frozen banana in your smoothie, you're probably the devil.
Bro, I remember for a long time you were boycotting bananas because of the sugar contest when you were counting your macros.
Yeah, when you're trying to actually count your macros, it's a hard thing to get fruit in.
Yeah.
Yeah, fruit's going to sugar bomb you. Nearly 90% of the imported cherries and bananas, 85% of the canned food, 82% of hot peppers, and 80% of chocolate arrive through these ports. Arun, are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
True story. Okay, so I can't remember. Somehow somebody brought over like a bunch of cherries for us. That may have been my father-in-law. Okay.
It's a very
day.
Middle Eastern thing to do. All my family
He always
cherries
likes
too,
to bring something that he buys. He thinks
like
it's
that clear black bag.
and we love it. We watch and we put it out. And I hadn't had cherries. I couldn't even tell you the last time I had cherries.
You
Right?
haven't popped a cherry in a while?
But, no, I have not, Christopher. Jeez.
I'm just asking the question.
Keep it together, bro.
What are you talking about? I love popping cherries.
Damn it, man. And steal my thunder. So I had maybe like a handful, maybe 2 handfuls of cherries because I hadn't had them. I was like, wow, this is really
what kind of
sweet.
ditty parties you throwing over there?
Right? Literally woke up the next day with the biggest migraine
From cherries?
from cherries, man. It was like the sugar rush was just too much. That was the only thing that had changed from my diet that day. And I was like, I woke up with the biggest headache the next day. It's like, you know how people sometimes wake up with headaches when they have too much wine, right? The night before? Like, that's what it felt like.
This is going to sound so geriatric. It's terrible.
Oh, God.
Oh, Arun pulled it up. 13 grams of sugar in cherries in
how many?
1 cup. Yeah, that's not too bad. There's probably
1 cup? I mean, how many cherries fit in a cup?
I can't see the fiber content. Can you? How much is that over there?
The fiber
Is there,
content?
no, you can't see it.
Can't see it, no.
Yeah, okay, well. Look, I'm sure there's enough.
Can't be
There's tons of antioxidants in it. So, I mean, you felt like shit, but you probably got some health benefits from it.
Bro, the antioxidant play is so overplayed.
Blueberries.
Bro.
Blueberries are real.
Yeah, just get a handful of blueberries. Every morning. That's the first thing I usually do if I'm like fasting. When I break my fast, a handful of blueberries.
I know this is going to offend a lot of people, okay?
Offend?
This is going to offend a lot of people. I don't do fruit.
0 fruit. You don't like the micronutrients, huh?
I don't believe in it. I can get that in a pill.
You just said you eat bananas.
No. In my
Like really
smoothies, but I
big
don't
ones,
really
right?
do.
How often do you do smoothies?
I haven't had one in probably a year and a half, 2 years.
You just said on the show you just said
You're an
if you don't
idiot
have a
if you don't
banana
have
in your
banana.
freezer.
For smoothies.
But you don't have smoothies.
Yeah, if you're going to make a smoothie, you should
So
have a banana in your
does
freezer.
Joanna have smoothies? Does Carter have smoothies?
No.
None?
I eat, the older I've gotten, the more like geriatric my diet's gotten. Like spicy food, I'm like, oh, I love it, but I can't eat it.
You won't
Like
do it.
alcohol, like, oh, I'd love to have a beer with you, but I don't want to waste tomorrow.
Not even a beer will waste tomorrow.
Dude, I'm at the point now where I'm like, why am I doing this?
I get that aspect of it, but like if you're out, like I mean, there's something.
I don't go out.
There are social benefits.
I don't go out socially.
He doesn't go out with us.
you go on a date with your wife.
But
Yeah.
He doesn't go out with us.
The last day we went on, I had a Diet Coke. She had a water.
Oh,
And
she doesn't drink anymore either, huh?
Rarely.
When are we getting rid of the bottles behind you?
Oh, no, we're going to drink those. I mean, I don't want to, but I have to.
I think it's
It's
been
a strike.
year.
You can't waste this.
We have to drink for them.
Yeah, it's
Pour
like,
some out for the homies.
these are probably worth 10 times as much now. They're inflationary.
Yeah.
All right, so this brings us back to a chart that I want to highlight. Could this port strike, along with aggressive Fed pivots like we've seen, spike a rebound in inflation like we saw in the 1970s? It is a financial literacy podcast, after all.
Mm-hmm.
In 1974, Arun, thank you for pulling up the chart, inflation rose to near 8% before falling back below 2%, only to spike back to 10% in 1980. Actually, over 10%. The Fed must avoid this, and you better believe they are watching this, and this may very well impact their decision to cut rates further like they've already forecasted. If this strike lasts for a month, hypothetically speaking, it could cost the United States over $130 billion.
Yeah, and especially if people haven't stockpiled and created enough of an inventory to where, they're having to charge more for some of these prices and have to inflate their prices.
This is October 2nd, the day we're recording this.
Yeah.
You got an election on November 5th. You got an FOMC meeting on the 6th and the 7th
of November. Right? We have, and for that Fed meeting, right? If anyone's trying to keep track, we got 2 jobs reports that still need to come out, okay, and 1 inflation report. Here's the problem: your boy JP, Uncle JP, was making the rounds. Okay, he was at some convention, and what was it called? It was the National Association for Business Economics. These names.
I saw this convention.
This is getting crazy.
Yeah.
So this guy, bro, he's gaslighting now.
Yeah.
No,
on purpose.
He's full blown.
Yeah.
He's lying. He's saying like what's happening that's not actually happening to make you think that it's happening, but it's not actually happening.
I was watching this. I watched the clips from the conference, and I'm like, what the hell's? Am I on the Twilight Zone?
So he was referencing some data points, and he was saying, you know what we're actually seeing now is that income has been actually increasing, and people are no longer spending more than they're making. So, and they're making so much more actually that they're saving also more. And
I
you're
would
like,
love to have been the moderator who went, name one.
I was bullshit.
Yeah.
I was show me the data.
No.
Yeah, what data, dog? You can't just say shit like that and expect people to believe it.
This is why people have a problem with Brian Moynihan.
Mm.
He says shit like that.
But here's my thought process. If he says that, right, it goes. Now we got to remember what have they been doing the last 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, right? Is
Lying,
right? And why were they lying? If you spew out that the economy's doing good and the labor market is doing just fine, we're not seeing a massive amounts of layoffs, that gives you enough of a reason to keep rates where they are and not go down, right? Because, hey, everything is fine. We don't have to make a lot of change. But also at this convention, he came out and said, I've never heard him point blank at one of these conventions say this. You can expect 2 more rate cuts by the end of this year.
Yeah, he's been very cavalier with it now.
50 basis points.
Yeah. He doubled down on it.
Yeah, he actually literally said it.
Doubled down.
Usually,
and I saw it. I'm like, well, you're going to. I hope for your sake, Chief, you do that. What if this port shit goes sideways?
That's what I'm saying.
What if the geopolitical conflict? So just for everybody's edification, wars in and of itself are typically inflationary. Things cost more during wars. Why? You're dedicating all that time, energy, and resources to other products. There's a whole fear thing that happens there. The supply and demand chain gets all out of whack. Import-export gets a little messed up. Wars are generally inflationary. And again, generally speaking, post-wartime periods are generally recessionary.
Right.
So geopolitical conflict has a lot of potential implications. A port strike has a lot of potential implications. And this guy's doubling down at random-ass conferences saying, you can expect 2 rate cuts, 50 basis points, YOLO.
Yeah, he's never done that before. And the lady that was sitting on stage with him and interviewing him, I had to think like, yo, what'd you do to get this information out, bro? This don't make any sense.
Yeah. How many did he have? He's a little saucy, huh?
Yeah. Both of you guys look a little saucy up
Are
there.
you in Switzerland again, yeah?
What's going on up here, yo? I don't get it.
Know. Well, speaking of what's going on, let's skip down to the Fortune article here, Haroon. I think this is probably the most important financial thing we're going to be talking about today. Well, according to Fortune,
it's got to be a routine segment on the show now. We got to give an update.
Yeah, what's going on with Diddy?
Yeah, where's Diddy?
Yeah, where in the world is Diddy?
What's he up to?
Yeah. Sean Diddy Combs hires his jailmate Sam Bankman-Fried's lawyer, a former clerk for Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Bro,
there's so many problems with that.
I messaged you today about it too. I was like, imagine being the lawyer for SBF, right? As a refresher for everybody, he was the CEO of FTX, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and committed all kinds of wire fraud, SEC fraud, securities fraud, all kinds of accounts that are opposed against him. So imagine you being that attorney, you get your hands full with this fool.
And in the same facility was another person recently who died. Jeffrey Epstein was in the same facility.
Same facility?
Same facility.
And then imagine being SBF's attorney and being like, I could take on 120 sexual allegations. Bring it on. Like, you're not busy enough? Like, what's going on out there? It's like it's almost like you're gonna lose.
Well, I mean,
like everyone's gonna lose.
No, but she's gonna win.
She ain't gonna win, bro.
Huh?
No way.
Or he? Or is it a she? Or
he or she?
The attorney's gonna win. You want to know why?
I think
you get paid.
It's Alexandra or something.
You get paid either way. Win or lose. Here's what you say.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she's getting paid. That's all she cares about.
Hey, Mr. Combs, I just want to let you know the weight of evidence against you is, well, it's a lot. And we're the best at what we do.
Yeah.
And we're certainly going to have a good result for you. But based on the weight of the evidence, I don't know that result is no jail time.
Yeah, right. There's definitely going to be some jail time.
Yeah, we're probably going to have to deal with the fact that you're going to jail. But we can get you, there's an empty cell down the block here that belonged to Mr. Epstein.
See, that's the thing. There were some celebrities that I think maybe he had dirt on. Let's put some tinfoil hats on.
If he was on suicide watch, which they announced, right?
But he's already off of it. They took him off it.
Because, SBF.
Yeah, so they took him off it now. But let's just
Alexandra Shapiro. Yeah, she looks like
she looks likable.
like a likable normal person.
Yeah, she looks like Cleveland's Fed president.
You see that smile with her hand on her face where she's like, "Oh my God!" Like that's the day she found out she was getting more money. She's like, "I'm getting rich."
She definitely got to look like she got some crazy eyes though.
Yeah, I would, dude. If you gave me that much money as much she's making from these cases, I'd probably have crazy eyes too.
But let's put some tinfoil hats on. So there's some celebrities that when the stuff initially came out, like I'm talking like day 1, day 2.
Every major rapper in music is if you're Jay-Z, you're wrapped up into this.
You're wrapped up in, and so, but the ones that came out and actually spoke out about it, they always preface it with, "Look, the Cassie shit was crazy. I already know. I'm not gonna co-sign that." But like they're putting him away. Like, since when was being freaky a crime? That was what people were saying.
Stop it.
I swear to God, I heard some celebrities that, like, what's his name? Faison? What? The actor back in the day? He came out, and I think it was him that was saying it.
So let me tell you how you cross-reference this if you're the FBI. Okay, you go,
Yeah.
All right, fine. Everybody made comments like that, and they're going to be on tapes.
Yeah. Or Diddy has tapes on them, right?
Yeah.
So they're coming out saying that, and you're like, now, with the 120 sexual assaults against them, what are you going to say now?
Bro, the sad part is they've interviewed like hundreds of people before they did this. You think they just were like, you know what? Fuck it. I think we got a chance of getting him on this. No, they got him on this.
Bro, TMZ released some photos of a party too. These parties, and it's like, okay, like it's true. Like, I don't know, it's technically not a crime, but
And who was holding onto those photos for so long, going like,
Bro,
when's the right time to leak
so
this?
there was a party.
the naked girl party.
Yeah, bro, on the table with the spread of food.
I got to be honest. I didn't find that to be. I think that just sounds sensational. But there's been movies where that's been like a thing.
No. But you're so now, given his track record, you're hoping that there was consent there, or was that a power play? You're gonna do this all night. Like you could see somebody like this.
Oh, you could just hire that through an agency. Like you could just hire like I need a naked girl to put food on.
Yeah, but you gotta think, right? We're putting tinfoil hats on, right? Somebody like him that likes the power play, like he gets off on that kind of shit.
Look, I don't know how many parties you've been to. I don't know that.
No, and then bro, Will Smith's there. Like, dang, he can't catch a break,
Bro,
bro.
Will Smith and Jada, like you know that they're already in this. Like we already know Jada what she was doing, right?
It's over, yo.
Yeah, I mean, what was the guy, the young Alsina, August Alsina?
Oh yeah, damn, you got that on top of the dome. Good for you.
Yeah, it broke my heart.
Wow, you like August Alsina?
No, but there's so many celebrities involved in this. But I keep trying to go through my head. Like, this is the messed up part. Is I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, okay, he gets to prison. He's on suicide watch. He's like, this is terrible. And someone was like, okay, guys, we need to put this freaky dude Diddy somewhere. Where do we put him?
People say, not with me.
And then someone was like, there's that vegan weirdo.
Is he a vegan?
Huh?
SBF's a vegan?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about his like eating, like he's losing all this weight because he didn't have food that he could eat because he's vegan.
Oh,
right? So
God damn
let's put that vegan weirdo who took all the fake money.
The guy with the fro.
Right?
Yeah. Who took all that money?
The real question is, did he recognize Diddy when he walked into his cell?
Did he?
Oh, for sure. As soon as he walked in, he was like,
yeah. We ain't going nowhere.
You my bunkie for life. And the sad part was they took his ex-girlfriend Carolyn.
Yeah, what she got some low
2
sentence.
years. She got 2 years.
I mean,
right? So, first of all, I don't know if you put her in a men's prison or not, but it's just
yeah.
Can you imagine like him and Diddy having conversations about their life? Like what kind of male bonding is going on in that cell right now? Yeah. Why didn't you ever?
Wait, so
why didn't you ever endorse FTX?
Wait, hold on. For real? They're literally sharing a cell?
They're bunkies, cellies.
Come on,
Haroon,
bro.
Please Google this.
That's not a real. I thought you were joking.
That's how he got Sam Bankman-Fried's lawyer.
Not in, like...
They're cellies, bro. They're on bunk beds. For sure, Diddy's in the bottom.
Yeah. What did SBF do to sell him? Because they became cellies. What did SBF say? Was he like,
look,
hey, bro?
Look, I saw this picture earlier, by the way.
That's great AI.
That's terrible AI.
That's great. I like it. So, but in that picture, they're not cellies.
There you go. in the sentence right below. Sam Bankman-Fried and Sean Diddy Combs, in addition to sharing the cell, are now in the hands of the same lawyer, Alexandra Shapiro, just hired by the rapper.
Bro, what did SBF say? What was the sell? Like, he's like, bro, she's gonna get me out. You gotta sign her.
And no, if you're looking at if you're Diddy, you go like, I don't feel like she did a good job for you. You're here.
You're still here.
Yeah. Is there somebody you know that's not here that I can contact?
But you also haven't died yet.
Yeah, but who knows what kind of booty he's giving up to stay alive out there, though. You know what I mean?
Bro, but also, like, they've committed completely different kinds of crimes. Like, wouldn't Diddy want to get somebody that also represented somebody like him?
I would beg to differ on the difference of crimes there.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why?
Ask all the people who held FTX. They feel like they got fucked. That was too easy. I had to take it.
Yeah.
That's on you.
Low hanging fruit.
All I'm saying, low hanging fruit.
You're welcome.
That's what you call it, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
You're not laughing back there. What are you doing? Watching porn?
Oh.
Worse. I'm looking at pictures of Caroline Ellison.
Yeah, she is. You know how like when people go to court and they try to like professional it up a little bit and look a little
aged,
weak,
bro.
Yeah, she
Wait,
aged.
go scroll down, Haroon. Look at this photo to the left. Go left, all the way to the left, right there. No.
You know,
take
left
your
is
mouse to
the other hand, right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, bro,
No,
It's
that's
like-
your right, dude.
Oh.
Go to the left. That's your right.
That's
That's
your
the
right.
right. Go to the left.
Yeah, and go. Where is it? Go up. Oh, you lost it. Cause you. Oh, now it's all the way to the right because you expanded it. Look at that photo over there. Look how young she is.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild, man.
It's also highly photoshopped, but yeah.
But still, and then you look at her over there. Look, she's got a Ozempic face over there.
That's not appropriate.
Why? It's a thing.
Ozempic?
I'm not creating anything. That's a real thing. Do a Google search.
Carolyn's Diary. I love Sam. Who photoshops this shit?
Honestly, man.
that's a
That's a
thumbnail.
YouTube thumbnail right there.
That's
I
a
love-
great
I love
thumbnail.
Sam.
That deserves a click.
The sad part is I guarantee there's nothing about a diary in that at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so clickbaity. I would have clicked. 0 prison time. That's a good thumbnail. Oops, that's wrong now.
Yeah.
God.
Man.
I could do this all night long. But by the way, this AI, I know for sure what they used for this photo. They took the Arnold Schwarzenegger in The Predator,
And what, use that?
where they do that classic like two bicep grips.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, recreate this, but in prison, and make one of them look a little bit like Sam Bankman-Fried and look a little bit like P. Diddy. And they did Sam Bankman-Fried's hair or like Diddy's hair, but yeah.
Bro, this is so. What is this from? This is from Cryptonomist? Jeez.
Yeah, Haroon only pulls the best sources.
I just typed
Cryptonomicist.ch.
Yeah.
I don't even know what country that is. I don't want to
we
know.
got
Just
all the
delete it before.
You got all the viruses.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well,
Odin, you got any pop culture?
No, it was basically this.
Or Diddy stuff?
Yeah, it was Diddy stuff. Mutombo passed away.
yeah,
Oh, sad. Brain cancer. I didn't even know he had brain cancer. Did you?
Nobody knew.
Nobody
Oh,
knew.
he
It
kept
just
it to
happened out of
himself?
nowhere.
That's a good question.
Mm.
Is that respectable?
What?
Not letting people know?
You know, I teared up a little bit when we lost the Black Panther.
Yeah. Because he didn't let anybody know either, right?
And then people were like taking shots across the bow at the way he looked aesthetically because he was still trying to do his press junket and like honor his commitments.
Yes.
Can you imagine
Because
that?
he lost a lot of weight, right?
Yeah, he lost a lot of weights. A lot of weights. A lot of weights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that? Is that respectable? Is that something? God forbid. But like, would you ever think about doing?
Oh,
Is
100%.
that how you? That's how you'd handle it?
100%. I mean, the problem is I think in my mind, I would try to live like as much of a normal life as possible because the second you acknowledge like you can't have that, I feel like you give up a little bit.
Yeah. I think Norm Macdonald was the same way.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
God, he was a good comedian. He
Great.
was so
comedian.
quirky.
Yeah. There's something to be said too. Like I was watching some interviews about this, and they're like, the people that make it through those situations are people who are a little bit more ignorant to what's actually going on. Like smart people tend to not be able to fight through it because they're too smart. They're thinking about the odds too much, and then now when that doubt starts to creep in, like so much of it is your mind too, being able to persevere and push through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking like, oh man, that's
You know the advances we're going to have with AI in the coming years for preventative medicine. What's going to really be
I hope
interesting
so.
is to see how all these corrupt pharmaceutical companies. I was watching. I went down a deep path the other
Be
day.
careful, bro. Don't go after pharma.
No, I know.
You don't want a target on you.
I was talking to some people, and I went down a path that was a result of it. They were like kind of bastardizing testosterone that I'm taking, and they didn't understand the difference between TRT and steroids per se. And I went down this path of just trying to figure out how and why we as Americans think the way we think.
Mm.
And when you go to a doctor for like a panel, it's usually a lipid panel.
Okay.
And the reason why is if you test for hormones, it opens up Pandora's box and insurance won't cover it. So they don't want to. And on average, you get about 6 minutes with the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So in 6 minutes, they get you in, they do their thing. And then I started thinking like, we silo doctors so much. You have, a sports medicine doctor. You've got an internist. You've got a brain surgeon. But we don't really look at health holistically at all.
Mm.
You could walk into a doctor's office and be like, oh, God, I'm so exhausted. And no one's going to check your hormone panel.
Wow.
That's like, you can get to I actually went to an endocrinologist
Mm-hmm.
when my testosterone was low. It was like in the 400s, low 400s.
Right.
It was a little bit higher than when I ultimately decided to get on TRT.
But still, like for most doctors, that's within the quote unquote healthy range.
Oh, she wrote me off.
Yeah.
She was like, your diet's good, you're lean. And she's like, and you're not really having any side effects. I said, well, I'm exhausted all the time.
Yeah.
I'm just tired. And she was like, yeah, but you're just not sleeping that well. I'm like,
Do they write that off to like? Is there a certain amount that you should just be able to? They expect you to accept because you're just getting older.
There's a whole bunch of reasons like that, but it blows me away to think that I had to go through my general. I had to go to several specialists, and I finally got to an endocrinologist, and then she finally agreed to test me. Got numbers that were clearly low. This is her subject matter expertise, and she was still like, and she was a nice, bright lady. She was like, yeah, no, and then I'm sitting thinking to myself like, okay. And I went to go see the guy who did my wife's knee surgery, right?
Mm.
He's a fantastic doctor, orthopedic, right? I was telling him I had tennis elbow, and he's like, he did some x-rays and everything else. He was very informative about, some stuff in my body and all that. And I asked about, see any evidence of things like arthritis, and he goes, no. And I'm like, what do you think about BPC? He's like, if you're into that kind of thing, but, these fads, they come and go. And I'm like, whoa, like you're disconnected, man. Like everybody I know is taking BPC and TB500 has like, and I should point out
about it, yeah.
We are no longer sponsored by Transcend.
And we're still repping it and pimping it out.
Still a big fan of the product. We don't get a benefit if you go to the links. The links have all been effectively removed. But I've seen this product, and those two combined do amazing things to heal people. I've taken them. I know that it's real.
Yeah.
But we don't do anything to prevent diseases. All we want to do is treat a symptom.
Yeah, man. The money's not in the cure. The money's in the treatment.
And that's a problem. That's a real problem. If money's dictating how you're treated from a health perspective. Did you know that if you bought Fruit Loops in the United States?
I've heard about yeah, you're right. I heard about this.
So there's outside of the United States, there's 700 things that most European countries consider to be okay for foods. Like there's 700 items that are like considered okay. Used to be the way in the United States. It used to be the world used to have kind of the same parameters around this. In the United States now, it's 10,000 items you can add to food that are considered safe for human consumption.
Unreal.
From 700 to 10,000.
Yeah, Chamath was on Rogan talking about this.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, it was a fascinating conversation.
I wanted to listen to the episode. What was he promoting?
I didn't listen to the whole thing from start to finish. I mean, Rogan also will bring people on just if he likes you, right?
Chamath's an interesting guy. I find him really interesting, but whenever he talks about things like, so I started listening to the episode a little bit, and then he started talking about like his kids, and I just tuned out. Like,
really?
He's got like a harsh stance with them on some level. On
I'm sorry, but it also has a lot to do with like he talked a lot about. I've listened to things where he talks about his own upbringing.
Yeah, I get that, but how did he make his money?
I don't know. You tell me.
Haroon, do you know how Chamath made his money?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Google him real quick. Chamath from the All In Podcast. He's a billionaire.
He doesn't even know. Do you know how to spell it?
No.
Chamath.
Yeah, hooked you up right there before you started fumbling.
Chamath.
Chamath. Yes.
Yeah.
That's him.
There he is.
Gangster.
WinApp, AOL, Mayfield, and Facebook. The very things that you now think are toxic are what made you a billionaire.
Yeah. I mean, but you don't think that he went into it with the intention of making them toxic? Like some of that society just takes over and uses it for all the.
I get it, but at the same point in time, with no disrespect to him, if you feel like the byproduct of the thing that made you uber wealthy is now toxic, and his work at Facebook in the first year was messy by his account. Chamath led the release of Facebook Beacon, an advertising system which failed and became the subject of lawsuits. Chamath's next focus was on new user growth. After 4 years, Facebook had 1 billion users. Before leaving Facebook, Chamath led Facebook Phone and Facebook Home projects, and it goes on and on and on. So he was early into
He looks like he comes off as a very, very genuine guy.
a hyper genuine.
Yeah.
The SPAC thing it kind of had a little bit of kerfuffle, if you will, in the last couple of years.
Kerfuffle, look at you.
Yeah, he pulled out of that. He's done a lot of political activism. You hear that a lot on the All In podcast if you listen.
Yeah, but he was really hyper focused on this whole like food stuff.
Keep going down. Yeah, criticism in social media. So November 2017, Chamath said that for ethical reasons, he regretted helping Facebook to become the largest social media platform. He said, "The short-term, dopamine-driven feedback loops that we have created are destroying how society works. No civil discourse, no collaboration, misinformation, mistruth, and it's not an American problem. This is not about Russian ads. This is a global problem. It's eroding the core foundations of how people behave and between each other."
Yeah, I mean that's well said.
No, it's
yeah, but like I mean, sometimes when you create something, like look, the same thing could happen to OpenAI, right?
No, I believe OpenAI is absolutely going on this path.
Yeah, so it's like obviously you started and create this thing that has the potential of changing the way we live our lives and everything we do day to day, but then it could take a turn for the worse too.
Name somebody you think has become uber wealthy, who you think hasn't done something like this to get there.
Something like this?
Ethically questionable.
Ethically questionable? You think this is ethically questionable?
I don't think
you think he went into this like with that kind of intent. Like
No.
I don't think he like sacrificed his ethics to get here.
No, well, look, and he's taking a stance against them, which good for him. But
Yeah.
But what I'll say is he's a good guy. He was in a good situation. He grew something. It's now turned into something toxic, and he's spoken out about it. Good for him. Great.
Okay.
I like him. I'm not criticizing him.
Okay.
I'm just saying that
Name somebody else.
name somebody that you think has made their career from A to Z without this type of either intentional or negligent or unforeseen mishap.
An unforeseen.
Name somebody who's just gotten there. Just this is a good person.
I'm just
They've
gonna
been a
name
good person
somebody.
all the way.
I'm just gonna name somebody. Not that I've thought it through, but I'd like to you poke holes at it.
Okay.
Cuban.
Mark Cuban?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. There's been lots of controversy around him. Now, I will say
Well-
the person that he's become has been exceptional.
What controversy with him specifically?
Go to Mark Cuban's Wikipedia page, Haroon, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was things going on at the Dallas Mavericks headquarters where there was like some of the staff members were doing things, but that doesn't fall on him.
So, American businessman, television personality. He's a former principal owner and current owner of Dallas Mavericks and National Basketball Association. We all know that. Shark Tank, blah, 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 blah. Early life education, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, 1958. His father was Norton Cuban, automobile upholsterer.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was Jewish. Interested. Cuban first ventured into business at age 12, sold garbage bags, blah, 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 blah. Business career.
Micro Solutions. I remember it was like a streaming platform, right?
Yeah, he moved to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Everything he's done, he said, has come out of Dallas. And what he's doing now with that pharmaceutical cost plus,
mhm.
you heard about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about medicine like that, where it has like, they got 20 years to really make money off of it, and then after that, like other companies like him, he can now sell it.
All right, I'll give you Mark Cuban. All right, fair enough.
Oh, got one.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Cryptocurrency. Uh-oh.
He was on the cryptocurrency train. Well, I should say this. I actually know some people who've alleged to work with him that were doing some pretty nefarious things on social media. And I don't know how he was backing them or if they were even legitimately affiliated, to be honest with you. So it's hard for me to criticize, but
he's been making the rounds on social media too lately. Bro, he's been doing some wild. Bro, he did Schultz's podcast.
Did he really?
Mark Cuban did Schultz, bro. You just see they were hitting him with like their flagrant type jokes. And he was going in with them.
You know, it's crazy to me to see so many damn billionaire. Fucking Selena Gomez is a billionaire now.
What?
Yeah.
For what?
Haroon, you want to Google that? Yeah. Selena Gomez is a billionaire. I saw this today. I was like, I don't understand.
My kids, Arya loves one of her songs.
Yeah. Selena Gomez reacted to news that she's a billionaire one day ago.
She's a bill. What does she own?
I didn't get it. Yeah.
She clearly owns something.
Bloomberg's billionaire index reported Selena is currently worth $1.3 billion now, largely due to her majority stake in her rare beauty brand, which reportedly accounts for 81.4% of her wealth. It makes Selena one of the youngest self-made billionaires in the United States.
Good for her.
Naturally, the news that the multi-hyphenate had reached billionaire status was met with praise, especially from those highlighting Selena's humble beginnings and criticism and growing up inequality.
I love it.
I did not know this.
Good for her.
Yeah.
I'm happy for her.
And see, that really highlights to me the power of your personal brand. And Ryan Reynolds, probably the king of this. You build your celebrity is not enough anymore.
Yeah.
If you're a business person, in addition to that, you grow these brands and you become a billionaire. Unequivocal.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it a wrap because you guys are looking like you're a little fatigued.
Bro, I caught you yawning and I didn't call you out for it. You going to say
yawn.
this? Yeah.
Sound on camera didn't happen.
I'll cut it in.
Yeah, exactly. Zoom in on the face. Haroon, you got anything?
Nope.
Christopher?
I got all the things.
Make sure you head over to YouTube, subscribe, ring that notification bell, hit that like button. Let's get this thing out to as many people as possible. If you're listening to on Apple or Spotify, leave us an honest 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you go out there and do all the... Bro, you added some stuff. The moist, goody good, nasty sassafras. I never put nasty in it. Why? Why nasty? No one said nasty. Why make it nasty?
When you say it, it sounds nasty.
Why you got to say nasty shit, Ray?
Because it's moist, Ray.
Fuck, he fucked it up. Haroon?
That's a wrap.
Because I'm a nasty man.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Okay, bye.